great day. If it was a weekend, no, you have vulnerabilities too, right? If you just lost a big client, vulnerability. Yeah. Okay, all right. So this is going to, that was the biology part. This is the social part, when we say biosocial. So this is sort of what happens. And I like to use an example. It's a made-up example. And it's the example of a young woman who I've arbitrarily named Jennifer, who goes to college. Jennifer lives with her parents, and she is going to college, but it's not the first time she's trying out college. It's the second time, maybe even the third time. But it's her first year. So when she went last year for the first time, she couldn't finish the semester. Now, for those of you who have paid for college, you know that if somebody drops out, I'm seeing some nodding, you don't get your money back. You know, it doesn't matter, even 2 weeks into this thing, you don't get your money back. So Jennifer actually was able to sort of go a couple of months, but then the pressure got to the end of the semester, she couldn't hold it, so she dropped out. And now she's going again. So she talked to her parents really want her to go to college. So they said, okay, but no more shenanigans, right? We're not doing the same thing we did last year. You're going and you're staying, okay? So the event is, we're about two-thirds of the way into the semester. We're getting close to finals. And Jennifer is going to school. And as often happens, I'm sure you guys will all connect with this. She got up a little late. She didn't have time for breakfast. Vulnerability, she's tired, she's hungry, right? And then she rushed in her car. Her parents said something like, you're late again, hurry up. So she stands, she's driving, there's traffic, and she arrives just a little late for her first class. Now, what she doesn't know is that the professor just said to the whole class, hi guys, tomorrow is the final. We're going to review everything together today, so no worries, and also remember, your paper is due tomorrow. Okay. And then Jennifer comes in, everybody's seated already, and the professor turns to her and in a very normal voice says, oh, hi Jennifer, so tomorrow is the final, we're going to review things today, and also remember your paper is due. She's super sensitive, and she's super reactive. Now, what emotion do you think she might feel coming into the classroom late, to say nothing of the fact that the professor is now saying something to her specifically? What would that emotion be? Embarrassment, exactly. But remember, embarrassment is sort of a lower level emotion, sort of like frustration. It's sort of like being a little scared, right? We're talking about huge reactivity. Shame. Right? It's total shame. I am such a loser. I am late again. Everybody's looking at me. Oh my God. Oh, and now he's talking to me. You know? Okay? So there's this funny thing that happens when we go through intense emotional responses. We try to make sense of it, and we go through those assumptions we were talking about. We make judgments. What do you think Jennifer is thinking about the professor who just talked to her?
He hates me.
He hates me. That's a hypothesis. That's an assumption, right? What kind of judgment? Come on.
The whole class is watching me.
What?
The whole class is looking
The whole class is looking at me, which it may or may not be true. He spoke to me. He's such a jerk. What? Why is he even speaking to me, right? Not taking responsibility. Why is he speaking to me? Why is he making me feel this way? Right? She's barely stepped into the classroom, and that's how she's feeling. Okay? So the event occurred. She's having judgments, and her emotional arousal is already at 10. She's feeling crushing shame. Right? So now we are oh, and by the way, she's feeling crushing shame. How much good work do you think she's going to be able to do during that class? None, zero. She's sitting, she's now at the back of the classroom, she's sitting, she's trying to get herself under control because she's learned that explosions in public are probably not that helpful. She's just white-knuckling it. She's trying to get it under control. She goes through the rest of her day, she comes home. She's still super heightened because return to baseline is really slow. And she's rethinking this because we all do that, right? when something happens that we don't like, when we think I should have done this, I should have said that, he shouldn't have said this to me, right? So she's going over it in sort of a ruminative fashion all day. Emotions, 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 emotions. It's exhausting. It's 5 o'clock, she comes home, and her parents are seated at the kitchen table, and they say, oh, hi, Jennifer. She walks in, and the door slams, the backpack goes, and the parents are like, oh. Now, what are the parents going through in that moment? This is familiar to them. They saw this last semester, right? When she dropped out. They're feeling fear. Right? And they're also feeling through this very intricate sort of way that we do in families, their mirror neurons are activating, right? Jennifer is overwhelmed. Shame is at the source of it all, but now it's sort of boiled into this really sort of nice little soup of emotions, and she's overwhelmed. And so parents are sort of feeling that, right? Her expression is pretty inaccurate in that moment. Slamming the door open, throwing the backpack is pretty inaccurate. What we see is somebody angry and overwhelmed. Really what we would like to hear when we say, hi Jennifer, how are you? We would like to hear something to the effect of, oh, it's been a rough day. You know, I was a little late at school, and when I arrived, the professor talked to me, and I felt so much embarrassment. And you know, because I'm sensitive and reactive, you know, I felt a lot of shame. I had all sorts of thoughts about how he was doing this to me on purpose, and it took me a while to get better. And I couldn't really listen to it. I said, I'm having a rough day. Accurate expression. As family members, siblings, spouses, parents, we can respond to that. We can say, oh my gosh, poor thing. This was really hard. You had a really rough day. Can I help you? Here, let me make you a cup of tea. Have a quick one. You know, I don't know what was it, but it's accurate expression. We can respond in a validating way, meaning, I heard you. I heard what you went through. But that was not what Jennifer said. Jennifer slammed the door through the backpack, so dad or mom says something like,
Pick up your backpack.
what's that?
Pick up your backpack.
Okay, it could be pick up your backpack, or it could be, and there would be nothing wrong with that. Uh-oh. Here we go again. You're doing this thing that you did. This means I care about you, right? This means I know you don't want to drop out of college. I know you care about this, and I want to help you. But we say it in that tone, right? Uh-oh. This is what you did last semester. Watch it. You're not dropping out again. If you're dropping out, remember, we're not trying this again. Right? Shame, 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 shame. Because her expression is so inaccurate, the response is pretty inaccurate too. It's nobody's fault. It's certainly not Jennifer's fault. She's struggling so much with it. And it's not the parents' fault. What are they supposed to do? All they see is the door with the backpack, which reminds them of horrible memories and failure. So they're holding up a red flag, and it's a very validating response. So what happens when she hears this? Do you think she will say, oh, Dad, you are so right. Thank you for pointing this out. I will calm down immediately and get my life under control. What will happen? Right? This is going to feed into her shame, makes sense, and her general feeling of overwhelm, and she'll slam up, she'll stomp up the stairs, slam her bedroom door, and the parents will look at each other in misery and worry, and nothing is resolved. Right? Yes?
And I guess the parents shouldn't expect Jennifer to ask them how their day was.
Good one. Excellent. And by the way, reopen the bedroom door. How are you guys? All right, let's be clear. As parents, we've all done this. And we've all done this many times. I often like to say that the act of being a parent is an act of invalidation. It's not as true as for spouses and siblings and when it's your parent. But as a parent, we are in charge of raising these little monsters into adulthood. And so, when your child, normative or not, steals something because they're 4 years old and they see it in the store and they love it, And so they take it and they don't pay for it as a parent. Do you say, oh my gosh, I so understand why you loved this little thing. This was great. Of course you would want it. No, you say, oh, no. We don't steal it. You're going to have to go back and apologize because we're teaching a lesson, and you're going to have to pay the nice man, say, here's some money, or we're going to say, you're going to return it and apologize. Shame, right? And most kids are fine with that. 95% of kids are fine with that. That is how we raise children. We shame them, sorta, into, and we do it out of the love that we have in our heart for them. Nothing wrong with that. And then for some kids, that shame just crushes them. They can't take it. The problem is not an invalidating response here or there. The problem is this pervasive history of invalidating responses that are perceived as invalidating. So we're talking about perceptions here. Inaccurate expression is inaccurate for us. We see overwhelm and anger. It makes no sense to us. That's what we call inaccurate. To them, it's perfectly accurate. She feels overwhelmed and angry. It's accurate, but it's not helpful. Pervasive history of invalidating responses. Same thing, that is absolutely not what any of us would have meant, but there it is. And that feeds into the vulnerability, right? When your entire life you have grown up being told, I remember a patient who was in her 40s, and after hearing this, she said, oh my God, I remember growing up, her first name was Donna, and I was called Drama Donna, right? Pervasive history of invalidation. Drama Donna. So that feeds into that. Because do you just say to somebody, calm down, and they calm down? Right? So that's the line. Never in the history of the world has telling somebody to calm down helped them calm down. Quite the opposite. It raises the emotional. So, to conclude, this is the treatment. The treatment for our relatives when they are lucky enough to have access to DBT and participate in DBT is that they learn to tolerate distress. Here, when their emotional arousal is super high, is where maladaptive behaviors come. Because emotional arousal is so darn painful. So this is where we will see substance use. This is where we will see some dangerous acts of self-injury or suicidal ideation, or the reckless driving that I was talking about, or the promiscuity that I was talking about. Anything in the service of bringing down the emotion that is maladaptive. And in the true spirit of dialectics, we're always looking for sort of like a middle ground, a middle path, but there is not a whole lot of middle path when we talk about maladaptive and adaptive. A maladaptive behavior is a behavior that is an obstacle to your long-term goals. An adaptive behavior is a behavior that helps you towards your long-term goals. That's pretty much it. So if somebody is looking to kill themselves, it's not going to help them with their life work. It's really not. It's very maladaptive. Same with self-harming. It's not so much about the cutting, which is sort of socially pretty inappropriate, but even that, it's more that if your boss talks to you intensely, it's really not very adaptive to have to go to the bathroom and cut in order to feel better. That doesn't help you manage your emotions in an appropriate way. Substances get in the way of your life. They really do. Okay. So we're looking for adaptive behavior, which are the skills that we teach in DBT. So one set of skills is called distress tolerance skills. We tolerate distress by not making things worse. We all know how to do that. We've all learned how to do that when we were little. Intuitively, we know, I need to take a breath. I need to go for a walk. I'll be right back. We know. We're not solving anything. We're not making ourselves feel better. We're just letting time pass without making things worse. This is that skill. There's a ton of skills in the distress tolerance module. This is the module right here. Okay. This is where we also learn non-judgment, etc. Another very important module is the module of emotion regulation. So emotion regulation manages all the judgments, the pervasive history of invalidating responses. It helps people figure out a way to modulate the sensitivity, the reactivity, and the slow return phase. But it's not what we do in moments of crisis. Another set of skills is under the umbrella of interpersonal effectiveness, so that the expression gets clearer and the communication gets clearer. And the fourth one, which is really the first one because it's the most important one, and it's so important that it's called core, is called core mindfulness. Because if you don't have mindfulness, then how do you know that the event is causing you to dysregulate? How do you know that you're having a judgment? How do you know that your emotions are getting aroused and what the name of that emotion might even be? So core mindfulness addresses all of this. The only thing that is not addressed in this entire chart by DBT treatment to patients is this guy. That's for you. That's what we're going to learn all day tomorrow. How do we change invalidating responses to validating responses? How do we become validating in the face of this onslaught? Okay? So, questions, and then we're going to go to lunch.